What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to From the Crypt. I'm Derek, and today I'm talking about my January entry. And yes, I know it's February. For my New Year's resolution. Now, some of you who watch our main episodes may know that I told Jacob my New Year's resolution was to pick 12 games that I've started and I have never finished, and go back through and finish them. So I knock some games off of my backlog. So, first up was Resident Evil Code Veronica. Now, this was originally released on the Dreamcast February 3rd of the year 2000. And Resident Evil Code Veronica X, however, which is, they're the same game, just a little bit added to it, was released on PS2 in August of 2001. And then the GameCube, which is how I played it, back on December 3rd of 2003. So, right now, right out of the gate, some people are like, man, there's an HD remaster of this. Why didn't you play it on PlayStation or Xbox? You've got to own it, right? I do. I don't know. Something about using the modern day controllers just doesn't work. And the tank controls just feel weird to me. But when I'm holding this bad boy right here, it works perfectly. So, that's part of the reason I wanted to play it on GameCube. And honestly, any chance I get to bust out my GameCube, I will. I love the GameCube. So, let's get into a real quick plot synopsis for this. 3 months after Resident Evil 2/3, because they're running concurrently, Claire Redfield is looking for her brother Chris and is captured. And this is where the game begins. So, what is good about Code Veronica X? I like that Claire is back in the game. Resident Evil 2 is awesome. Anybody wants to argue that, do it. Get ready to be eviscerated, because that is wrong and like a dumb hot take and a half. But it is kind of a shame that Claire has really only been in Resident Evil 2, Code Veronica X, and then Resident Evil Revelations 2. We need a little bit more Claire going on in the Resident Evil world. And also just having Claire and Chris Redfield together was awesome. Not going to lie about that. I did enjoy and miss the old school feel of the Resident Evil games. So I remember back in the day, I played the shit out of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Like a lot on PlayStation. So just the sounds that the game makes. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. And yeah, so playing this brought back a lot of fun nostalgia, and it was just good. It was good to feel young again. Okay, now let the controversy begin. What's bad about Resident Evil Code Veronica X? The voice acting in this game, Steve in particular, is fucking awful. You could say the voice acting is not good in 1, 2, or 3. It's miles better than what's in Code Veronica. And speaking of Steve, he makes me want to beat myself to death with a tuna fish. Why a tuna fish? I don't know. That's the first thing that popped up in my head. So since this game takes place 3 months after Resident Evil 2, which obviously Resident Evil 1 took place before that, and STARS has been disbanded because Raccoon City has been absolutely butt-fucked off the map. Why is Chris still wearing his STARS uniform? We couldn't put him in a different costume? We wouldn't have been able to recognize him? Come on, get the fuck out of here with that. I hated a majority of the bosses in this game. They were not pleasant. It was not a Nemesis, or fucking Neptune, or the Tyrant, or Birkin. None of them had that effect. They were either way, way too fucking easy, completely stupid, or if you did not have the right ammunition, you were fucked and had to reload a previous save and go back God only knows how long. Now, part of the reason I never finished this game was because I did not feel like starting over. Because by the time I got to the Tyrant and the plane, I did not have enough ammo. And watching people run circles around the tyrant, they must be playing on a different version of the game than the GameCube version, because that motherfucker is fast as Tyreek Hill, and you cannot run circles around the tyrant in the plane. So people will say, well, you should have had multiple saves loaded. Why didn't you save 15 times and then just pick one and start from there? Yeah, that is a fair point. You could definitely say that. But considering the fact that I never had to do that in Resident Evil, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, fuck, even by this point, Resident Evil Remake for GameCube, Resident Evil 0, I never had to do that in any of those games, so why in the fucking world would I expect that I have to do it for this one game out of the whole series? So, no, sorry. This game also felt like a chore, a literal chore to get through. The other games were fun and suspenseful. This game literally was just pissing me off more than fucking anything. I was not enjoying having to backtrack or do this, or because fuck, I use my own intuition. Then it's like, oh god, well that was fun. Run back, fucking around. This, I don't know. This game did not feel intuitive like the games that came before it previously were. So that was kind of annoying. Okay, lastly, the story of the twins. It's weird. And in today's culture, that shit would not fly. Because Claire literally calls Alfred a cross-dressing freak at one point in time. Imagine that in today's climate. It doesn't bother me, but it's going to bother somebody. But the cross-dressing freak reference would be probably as controversial to a mainstream audience as my opinions about this game to its dedicated fan base, which, let me just go ahead and say, if you love this game, I am happy for you. I really, really, truly am. And please, I would say, take it easy on me, but no, I'm saying what I'm saying, because it's my honest to God opinion. Now we're going to get a little more controversial too. So, the future of this game, because as Resident Evil fans, we all know a remake is very, very possible, if not already in the works. There's two paths ahead, in my opinion. If it does get a remake, this game needs to be completely reworked. There are a lot of elements in this game worth saving. Chris and Claire being together, that's awesome. Wesker coming back into it, to a certain extent, is fine. But there is a lot in this game that needs to be completely scrapped, redone, and then form a more cohesive story and a just better game overall. Or, and this is where the controversy comes, this game could legitimately be retconned. And I don't think it would affect the remake series at all, especially considering we only have 2, 3, and 4 right now. So we don't know if they're going to remake 1, which with the 30th being next year, it's very possible. That's what I would bet on for next year is Resident Evil 1 remake. Again, remake. This game is where it kind of gets out of control and crazy with shit. Don't get me wrong, I love Resident Evil 5, Neo Wesker, that's what I'm going to call him. Man, really? I don't hate it, but if we get the opportunity to go back and try something different, a little more grounded, which I know you're going to be like, zombies, and you're wanting to keep it grounded. Yeah, because I would rather keep it at zombies than zombies and the fucking Matrix. Yeah, I don't know. I think this game could get retconned in the remake series that's coming, and it wouldn't affect it. I don't know. But if they were to rework it and remake it, I will play it, and I will have hopes that it'll be better, which I'll be honest, it'd be kind of hard if it didn't surpass the original. Because, even, get ready for this, even Resident Evil 4 did. Alright, so replay value review. Would I replay this game? Abso-fucking-lutely not. Like I said, this game felt like more of a chore than anything. I would rather pick up the Resident Evil GameCube remake and go through that 3 times, back to back to back. To back. Or I'd rather go through Resident Evil. Like, I would go through any game. I'd go through Resident Evil 6 again before I'd go through Code Veronica X. Did I get my value out of this game? And yes, and this is where people are going to be pissed off and bring this hate on. So back in the day when my local Blockbuster was phasing out the GameCube games, they had, I remember I walked in, 2, 3, Code Veronica X. They were all $10 a piece. Being a broke, very broke 16 or 17-year-old kid, I only had $20 on me. And I was able to buy Resident Evil 2 for the GameCube and Resident Evil Code Veronica X. My logic, I had Resident Evil 3 for the PlayStation 1, so I didn't really need that one. Looking back on it now, well, not even looking back on it now, eBay, how much those games are worth. Yes, I got my value out of it. It costed me $10. What score would I give this game? I'm giving it a 5. A 5. I love the Resident Evil franchise. Some of you probably know that because Toby and I talk about it sporadic, like video game characters we bring into battle, and we even talked about the Resident Evil movies, which was a constant comparison of the games. So I love the Resident Evil franchise. It's easily one of my favorite gaming franchises ever. But this is easily my least favorite mainline entry into the series. And I don't like saying that. I really don't. But this game just did not do it for me. And some people probably think, well, if you would have played it back in the day, maybe it'd have hit different. There's a reason I didn't finish it back in the day, and there's a reason I had to will myself to want to finish it now. Because all the nostalgia-ness, man, by the time I got to that second disc and hit the Antarctic, it just kind of faded away. Because I made sure I was ready for the Tyrant, but by the time I got to Nosferatu, I was not enjoying myself. And that carried on through the rest of the game. But guys, that will conclude my very controversial take on Resident Evil Code Veronica X. Make sure, drop a like on the video if you enjoyed yourself, or this is going to get a bunch of dislikes. Sorry, I'd rather be honest than lie. But in the comments down below, let's talk about Resident Evil and our love for Resident Evil. Explain to me why you love this game, and I will gladly talk with you about it. Or if you want to talk about a random Resident Evil game, let's talk about that. Fuck, just say the word resident in the comments. I'd be okay with you. You say resident, I'll say evil. I got your back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already, if you did enjoy yourself. If you didn't, I apologize, but at the same time, I'm going to be honest. So, yeah. Until next time, guys, have a good one. From the Crypt.